about was making arrests. And what are some of these arrests for? What types of crimes?
Well, you know, these troopers on the highway, working the interstates, you know, we're finding people that are wanted from other states. We're getting parole violators. And those also seem to stay around in our jails for a long time, and maybe we can get some assistance and maybe get the state to come pick up some of these parole.
Work with the Jail Commission and TCOL to make sure that we provide the space. Would you in your county be amenable to having one of these soft cell facilities put up? The state would be providing the money for it, for the erection of it, and maybe for the additional manpower that would be needed for it. Just consider, go ahead.
We'd be very receptive to that. I do have the smallest jail in the area, but we make the highest number of arrests. And when we exceed those bed spaces, we simply have to contract it out.
Exactly.
Yes, that would be an option, sir.
Okay. All right. Very good. We're going to continue this, but let me address these folks real quick, take a few questions, and then we'll continue with the conversation. So what's going on today is, beginning a month ago, our office began the creation of a border security project team, task force to make sure that where the state is working in collaboration with local officials, especially sheriffs. Everybody sitting around this table in front of me is a sheriff among border county regions, a sheriff of areas that are being overrun with an excessively high volume of people who are coming across the border. We promised to meet every other week to talk about what is going on, what is needed, what steps need to be taken to make sure that Texas and local officials are better able to address this massive influx. The people in the white hats in front of me, they are the tip of the spear. They're the ones who are having to deal with the most immediate consequences of the incredible large influx of the number of people coming across the border. They have incredible needs that have to be met, and they're going to be able to handle this massive influx. One reason why they're in the Capitol today and why they will be in the Capitol this coming week is because I put on the special session agenda the funding of more border security efforts. And one thing I've heard consistently today is that each of these counties are dealing with a record number of people who are coming across the border. What was categorized as an unprecedented magnitude of people coming across is unlike anything they've ever seen. And many of them, as you've heard already, are people who are subject to being arrested. And when they are arrested, there are issues about where they can be placed. The volume of people who either are arrested or who need to be arrested is so large that we are all working with the Texas Jail Commission as well as the Commission on Law Enforcement to make sure that we're going to be able to arrest more people and then jail more people, as well as meet all the legal standards as we go about that process. Another thing that I've heard consistently from everybody at this table, and that is at the local level, they need more manpower in dealing with these people coming across the border, including especially dealing with gang members and dealing with people from very dangerous countries. One of the gang members, or one of the gangs that was referenced by one of the sheriffs was called Tango Blast. It's just one of a multitude of gangs that operate on both sides of the border, but are also involved in the human trafficking and human smuggling that's taking place in the state of Texas. One thing that we've talked about is identifying more jail cells for those who are migrants across the border illegally, who are arrested, and we're working on strategies here today, but also we'll continue to work on strategies with the state legislature to make sure that we have the funding that is needed to provide jail cells for everybody who is arrested. We also need more judges. It's one thing to arrest somebody, but you have to have judicial magistrates to go through the processing of that. That's a strategy that my office and our team is working on and dealing with. And another concern raised by, I think, literally everybody that I've heard from so far is a massive increase in high-speed chases and dangerous smuggling encounters. When you say those words, it really doesn't capture the magnitude of the danger that our law enforcement officers are going through whenever they go through those high-speed chases, as well as the danger to local residents. when you have speeding cars trying to escape law enforcement in your local community, you never know when those speeding cars are going to be running into somebody, killing somebody who is a Texas resident because of the criminal activity by the people who are involved in a high-speed high-speed chases. There, in addition to a massive increase in the number of stash houses, the Texas Department of Public Safety has been involved in interrupting and intercepting. There's also been discussion about stash locations where people are held for a short period of time waiting for somebody to pick them up. There is a coordinated effort on the Texas side of the border among cartel members, again, among gang members, among smugglers, to place people in a certain location for a short period of time only to be picked up by somebody else who will be involved in human trafficking and placing these people perhaps in other parts of the state of Texas as well as other parts of the entire country. And we have people here talking about challenges that they are facing from counties 150 miles inland from the border. A lot of people think that this is a border-related issue, and it is a border-related issue. However, this is also an issue that affects counties across the entire state of Texas. And really goes far beyond that, because the people coming across the border, the contraband they bring, the fentanyl drugs they bring, everything else that they bring across the border doesn't just stay in Texas. It goes to other states across the entire country, which is exactly one of the reasons why so many other states across the country are providing resources to Texas to help us deal with the challenges that we're facing along the border. Bottom line is, because of the current administration's complete abandonment of enforcing the laws that were passed by the United States Congress concerning immigration, there is an unprecedented increase in the number of people coming across the border. And the federal government has, because they abandoned the responsibility, they have left it to the state of Texas as well as to the counties that are represented here today to have to pick up the load of responding to the unprecedented number of people coming into our country. Our message to the country is that even though the federal government may have abandoned their responsibility, we are not going to abandon our responsibility. We have here with us today people who believe in the rule of law, people who will enforce the rule of law, and there are others like them across the state. And we are not going to abdicate our responsibility to make sure that we are enforcing the rule of law. We're just working on the strategies that are needed to make sure that the state of Texas is providing our local officials every tool and every resource they need so that they're going to be able to keep their community safe. With that, I'll take a few questions and then we will continue our conversation.
Yes,
According to Customs and Border...
You said before, Governor, you were going to build a wall. A month ago, you said you were going to build a wall. And as I recall, you said you don't have a plan, you don't know where it's going to go, you don't know how much it's going to cost, and you don't know how long it's going to take. You and I are exactly the same age. Do you think even in our lifetime that this wall will be built?
So,
or is it just a cynical political ploy?
yeah, and it's a very uninformed question, but I need to give you the information because a lot has...
That's what you said.
If you would, let me answer the question.
That's what you said.
A lot has transpired since the last time that we spoke.
Okay.
And what has transpired, the first step that had to be done is we needed to hire a program manager. The Texas Facilities Commission has already begun that process, as well as the Texas Facilities Commission has already received bids for building the wall. The cost is coming in lower than what we thought. The speed at which the wall will be able to be built is coming along faster than what we thought. And the money that will be provided for building the wall is going to increase. And so everything is happening candidly at a quicker, more effective pace.
Where's that money going to come from? Where's that money going to come
from the state of Texas. The federal government is not going to provide it.
$250 million, you said.
Yeah,
The last time I saw the price for all this, just from Trump, was $12 billion. So where's the rest? That was him. So where's the rest of the money?
So we had bids in already.
Yeah, but how much?
Next
All right, so
question.
next question.
According to Customs and Border Patrol...
Next question.
According to Customs and Border Protection statistics,
Governor, Randy Clark, Breitbart, Texas, are you going to coordinate the construction of this with the Border Patrol to make sure we're using Texas right-of-way land that we might already own with Texas Department of Transportation?
So we already have a large number of mileage that is being offered by residents who own property along the border. We also have a large number of mileage that the state of Texas owns along the border. And so we have more mileage available to us to build a border wall than what has already been built in the state of Texas by the Trump administration.
According to Customs and Border Protection statistics, that agency's staffing each year of the Trump administration, both overall and in the Southwest sector, was lower than even the lowest staff year in the Obama administration. Why weren't you critical of President Trump's decreased staffing there?
So I'm going to need you to slow down and speak louder in your question.
Sure.
Because I couldn't catch everything you were saying.
Sure. According to Customs and Border Protection statistics, that agency's staffing in each year of the Trump administration, both overall and in the Southwest sector, was less than even the lowest staffed year in the Obama administration. Why weren't you more critical of President Trump for that decreased staffing?
President Trump did more than any other president has ever done to secure the border, as well as more than any other president to decrease the number of people coming across the border, and it was because of the strategies that the president was able to achieve, such as the Remain in Mexico policy, such as the Title 42 policy, such as the agreements that the president was able to hammer out, not just with Mexico, but also with the Northern Triangle countries, and the numbers speak for themselves. Easy examples, and that is April of last year, when President Trump was still president, there were about 17,000, a bit more than 17,000 apprehensions made in that April. This April, that increased almost 1,000% to more than 170,000. The same trend continued in May. During President Trump's last year in office in May, there were about 23,000 apprehensions. This year, there were more than 180,000 apprehensions. So if you look on a month-by-month basis, what you will see is an increase year over year of 800, 900%, sometimes almost 1,000%. And the difference is this: the Biden administration has abandoned the standards the Trump administration put into place that were effective in slowing the number of people coming across the border. Period. Yes.
Two more questions down here on the floor.
Governor, we have the border sheriffs here and border law enforcement. We do have a special session going on. They're talking about their needs that they need to control the situation in their counties. So will we be using money already appropriated during the regular session, or will you be asking for more?
I'm asking for additional appropriations from the state legislature during the special session to in part fund the needs that the sheriffs have articulated, but also to fund in part additional strategies that will be conducted by the state of Texas.
Last question, Chris.
Hey, Governor, these sheriffs are going to be arresting more people, housing more people, and presumably they're going to need lawyers. Is the state going to be paying both ends of the freight on that?
Right. No, yeah. So that's one of the cost figures, and that is there is a legal requirement to provide defense for somebody who doesn't have the resources to pay for that defense. And so, yeah, that's one of the costs involved in the overall process of the criminal justice system.
All right, great. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for coming.
All right, let's pick back up. Doesn't sound like it's working. There you go.
Good afternoon. Thanks for allowing us here. Anyway, we're moving forward. I'm sure bands maybe procedural county. I'm just here to echo what most of these sheriffs have echoed before. I still have my county in 30, like I said, 3,800 square miles, 108 miles of river, and I got two deputies in the south.
Press, if you guys can please